Hi little skeletons, it is Disney Queen Skelly here and welcome back to the Reacting to Marathon. Today we are reacting to another one of Harley Baby's videos, Storytime number 2, my first time on Indiana Jones. I actually did not know about this story, this was my first time hearing it, and she wouldn't tell me it before this thing posted, so let's get into it.
Hey Playtons, HarleyBaby45 here, and welcome back to another story time with Harley Baby. So today's story time, I'm going to be talking about...
Quick thing, you almost look naked. Like your hair is covering, I'm assuming, the straps, or you're wearing something strapless. It looks like you are naked.
my first ever experience with the Indiana Jones attraction at Disneyland. Now, Skelly mentioned in a video of hers that Harley Baby, is afraid of the Indiana Jones ride, and yes I am. This is the story why. So, back when I graduated high school, we went to Disneyland for grad night, and I went with a very good friend of mine. And we were just running around Disneyland having fun, and at that time, I'd never been on Indiana Jones, because no one would go on it with me because it was like super rocky and like kind of rough, at least from what I've heard.
And it's true, but one attraction that mostly pertains to with people that don't want to go on it is Matterhorn. My dad specifically will not go on it because of that reason. It hurts his back.
So I was like, well, let's go on Indiana Jones. I've never done it before. He goes, all right. It was a pretty long line. We waited for a while. And then and I was excited when I was waiting in line. And then we got on the ride. We went through the entire ride. And a lot of it was dark. A lot of it had like little the skeletons come at you, and it was a lot, and it scared the holy bejeebies out of me.
And I can't blame her there. When I was young and I first rode the ride, it terrified me too. I physically did not know how I could actually get on that. And it wasn't so much the ride itself that scared me, it was the imagery. So what I would do when I went on is I would close my eyes, and then I kind of leveled myself up a little bit. After that, I would take my glasses off and be blind that way. And then once I got used to it, I would put my glasses on. And then ever since then, it became one of my favorite attractions at the park.
Not to mention, if you've been on the Indiana Jones attraction in Disney, you know that giant snake that kind of goes this way at you toward the end of the ride. Yeah, that is what scared me the most, and what still scares me the most. I can't leave my eyes open with that part.
And she always says it's ironic because her favorite animal is a snake.
So after we got off the ride, I was terrified. It scared the holy hell out of me. It was just not a good time. So when I started going to Disneyland with Skelly, I did tell her, Indiana Jones does scare me, blah, blah, blah. She's like, well, we don't have to go in if you don't want to. So I was like, okay. And then one day...
And the thing is that, well, I got back together with hubby when he was working there, but I would mainly go with Harley Baby to Disney, and I was literally deprived of Indiana Jones for a while because my parents got rid of their passes because it was just way too much money, and hubby was always working, and, I would only go with her, so it would be weeks upon weeks upon weeks before I could go on Indiana Jones again.
I was like, I want to do it. She goes, are you sure? I'm like, are you happy with me? I'm good. If I change my mind while we're in line, we can always leave. And I did okay. The first time, and it's I know that with time, I think I will start to enjoy Indiana Jones more and more and more. But until that day comes, it's still going to scare me and give me a little bit of anxiety.
And I always let her pick when we ride the ride. I never suggest it. I always let her tell me when she wants to get on it, just in case she doesn't feel comfortable on that particular day that we go to Disney.
But I have no doubt that one day I will enjoy the ride as a lot of other people do.
And it's true. I mean, that happened to me with Splash. When it came to Splash Mountain, I was terrified of the ride, and it was just because of the drop. But then an ex of mine forced me on the ride, and then ever since then, I had tried to get myself to just ride it. just it was a moment of, I'm not going to think about it, I'm just going to get on the ride and I'm just going to do it. And that's exactly what happened. I would just get on the ride and I would just do it. I would just ride the ride. And it worked. And now Splash Mountain is my favorite attraction at Disneyland Park. So I think that's actually a really good way to do it.
So that was this story time. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I know it was short but sweet, but it was just a little short story of my history with Indiana Jones. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Leave me in the comments what story time would you like to do. I can do this like a story from high school. I can do like a recap of how me and Skelly met. Although she does have a video on how her and I met, and I can do it from my point of view. But I would love to hear your suggestions. I would love to hear your feedback. Thank you so much for watching, Puddins. I love you.
The only problem with people suggesting like story times, or like in my case it would be the chatting skeleton stuff, is that it wouldn't necessarily work because they don't know who you are per se. Like, I mean, for you guys, you know me because of the getting to know me's, and you know, out of any of those you could ask me a question like, hey, can you do like a chatting skeletons on this question that you answered, or this question. But with her, she doesn't really have much in the way of who she is on this channel. So suggesting like story times wouldn't exactly be like the best thing. But, you know, I guess, you know, you could ask her, like, oh, is there an interesting story that happened to you in high school? Is there an interesting story that happened to you at work? You know, what's the weirdest thing that had ever happened to you? Stuff like that. But anyway, I don't think I rated yesterday's video. No, I'm very sorry about that. Yesterday's video I will give a 10 out of 10 because she does love The Little Mermaid. And I feel like giving a score any less would be, I guess, a little insensitive. This video I will also give a 10 out of 10 because I am proud of her for actually conquering her fear and going on Indiana Jones when we would go to Disneyland. So I'm very proud of her for that, for overcoming her fear. And, you know, it was all on her own accord. So showing that kind of proves that she's, you know, getting used to things, that she's starting to feel a bit more comfortable with things that she's scared of. And I totally can say that, you know, that's just a wonderful trait to have, and that's a wonderful thing to do because I'm just so proud of her for, you know, overcoming her fear, and I'm so very proud of her for attempting this ride whenever we go. Again, it's never, you know, it's never every trip, but the trips that she does actually end up riding the ride, it makes me very happy because one, I can experience it for myself, and two, she little by little will get, not over the, well, yeah, she'll basically get over the fear. So thank you everybody so much for watching. The original video will be linked in the description box below, and as always, don't forget to subscribe to Harley Baby, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye little skeletons, stay safe, and I love you guys.